Welcome back to the All-Purpose Pod for an all-purpose life, wherever you are and however you're here. And they call me Mr. U. We thank you again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. We're your weekly mirror check before you change the world, baby. We got Raj and Herb in the house. We got Travis D. home, Big Cat Country, joining us again this week. Football Talk with Bo is out on assignment again. I'm on a nice beach somewhere, chasing sunsets, making us look bad. You know, that stuff we be doing. But how you guys doing this morning?
Just waiting on my chance to be sent out on assignment. Like,
and out. Let's clarify. I can't send him out. You guys can go on assignment if you want to. He goes on assignment a lot, and I'm like, that's just kind of. But I have a challenge. So a lot of assignments. I'm going on an assignment the week after next. I got to do me a little assignments so I can feel good about me.
Well, congratulations.
Your turn is coming, Herb. It's coming. Travis, stay on assignment. I know you got plenty of assignments in his situation.
Oh, I stay on assignment, yes, but I assign myself, or my wife assigns me the stuff.
Yeah,
that's about it.
There you go. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Good morning, West Coast. Yeah, Bo's on assignment. Are you going to still watch the show because Bo's not here, or is we going to be okay? Can we still possibly entertain you while Bo's not here? He sends his love. He'll be back next week. Thanks, West Coast, for joining us. We appreciate you always, every week. Oh, look at this. You all deserve assignments of travel. You got that right.
Yeah. I need to get on assignment to Costa Rica. Yes,
I'm going to Florida. I'll be in your neck of the woods. Close to you, Trav. I'll be in Panama City Beach.
Nice. Close enough.
Beach, some beach, some jazz. I'm having a good time.
Nice.
I need it.
We are going to Dallas this week to see Raj for his birthday, but that's as close as
taking pictures, right? Doing pictures and videos.
Yeah. And be back in time for Monday morning. So
yeah, I wasn't going to ask. I was kind of just hoping, like, don't let me down. But
nope.
That's still neat. All right. Well, a lot going on. I want to really jump into a lot of more of the NFL draft stuff because next week is going to be all NFL draft. I have to because of scheduling and stuff. So we're going to just hit it hard next week. But putting with our mock drafts today and stuff. But I want to jump into a little bit of baseball. We have a lot of fans that are still listening. You want to hear about baseball stuff. This is not something that's going to blow you guys' minds. It's not going to be about game by game coverage, none of that kind of stuff. It's just baseball related stuff. All right. Good morning, Mom. Look at this. Her boy's not even here, and she's here still supporting us. Thank you, Mom. We love you so much. Thanks for joining us, and hope you're having a great day out there where you are. All right. So, if you guys heard the name Angel Hernandez, basically in any place that has a baseball park, his name is being burned in effigy. Okay. He's an umpire, been around since the 1990s. He's not a newbie at all. He's not like some guy that doesn't know what he's doing, per se. I want to read a whole bunch of stats off to you and tell you about his ratio of strikes and balls. I ain't going to do any of that. I'm going to just show you what everybody's so mad about in a nice little snippet, all right? So hang with me here. We're doing technical stuff, so you know how that can be sometimes. So hang on in there. I'm going to show you this real quick so you can see what everybody's so upset about. Hold on. You see that?
And on top of it, the hardest hit ball of his big league career, and now he's finding out about Angel Hernandez. That wasn't even close. Pitch called a strike. Wow. That's contact.
Oh my!
2 games in a row. Oh my goodness! Angel.
Gets the call. It's a 2-1 Braves third inning. Tyro Estrada.
Wow. Now that is a wide strike zone.
Long days, feel a lot shorter and a lot more fun.
That's not even close.
What is happening?
Hey, again, this is you cannot miss this pass.
Was that a strike?
Oh my God.
That's strike
This is the one that.
Yep.
Lord.
And that one is not polished. Trying to hold up his swing. Man,
It was all the Yankee one. He was killing us with the Yankee one.
Now that had every bit of the plate, but
I wonder if he just has his eyes closed, though.
I don't even know where to go with it. I was hoping they wouldn't show the Yankee ones in the video, but he showed about 5 or 6 of those. It was like, I need to get off of the stage. I gotta stop that. I can't say no more. That's enough. But
Wow,
you guys can see it. So, like I said, he has a history. He has a long history of this, and it's not against any team like Scott Foster, the referee from the NBA. He's in a game with Chris Paul. He gives him the business. This is not that. This is everybody's equally getting screwed. So it doesn't matter what the team is or where they're playing. His accuracy, I guess, is the same. His tracking of missed call is still the same. And it's like, why did this happen? Boras said he have a laundry list of things to say about him because everybody that has any kind of baseball love in him grimaces every time he comes to the he's a part of any game. So I don't know what you guys thought.
I enjoyed looking up information on this one because there's a site that's Umpire Scorecards that they kind of just rack up what the different refs said, they have any biases, et cetera, and he has 6.3 fewer correct calls per game than the average umpire. So I'm like, that's pretty stark. That's pretty big overall. But at the end of the day, so he's very bad at his job. That's the best that we can go with. Is he's just bad at his job? Like you got what do they call a doctor with a C- average? A doctor? Like that, you don't know what these guys are. Like, unfortunately, he's just a bad one of his profession and probably shouldn't be gone. But I'm assuming that they have a union of some sort that's kind of watching this, and hopefully the MLB does something with it. I don't know if they would demote him to another, AAA or something along those lines, but that's rough. That's rough to watch. And this has already been something that people have been talking about for a long time. So it's not news, but it's getting worse.
According to what they say, according to their rules, okay, you're talking, Kirby. I can't hear you. We can't hear you, brother.
He's muted.
Kirby, you with us? You got something to say? We can't hear
lips
you,
are moving. Still can't hear him.
I'm gonna let you autocorrect, and then we'll go ahead and come back to you. All right. But they have some kind of rule, I guess, where if they make too many egregious mistakes, they kind of pull them out of certain games. They're not allowed to be crew chief, that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, I'm starting to wonder now if there is a reason why this is happening, because everybody can say ineptitude and kind of point toward that. I'm on the conspiracy theory side with this one. I feel like this is something more to this than just that. So I did a little bit of digging because that's kind of what I do. And if there was a lawsuit that happened 3 years ago, 3 years ago in March, it was a racial discrimination lawsuit, and he was a big part of that. He lost it against MLB, and he was claiming he said he was discriminated against because he wasn't able to be assigned to a World Series since 2005, I guess it was, and was never made a crew chief. So it feels like a lot of what we're seeing is lining up with that same time period. So I'm like, I feel like he knows that he can be demoted, like you said, he can be moved around, but he can't be bumped. I guess after one infraction, it had to be like a preponderance of things happening. I think he's sticking it to the Major League Baseball.
Because he's Cuban American and he knows he can't. And with this previous lawsuit, he knows he essentially can't truly be demoted. He's just gonna milk it, do the least adequate job that he can do, and kind of just milk this thing as long as he can.
I mean, he's getting paid. Nothing's really changing.
Hey,
he's still working.
You know what? That's interesting.
Games. He's working games and on top. He's trying to work in prominent games. He's not working. I can't name a team right now because a lot of teams I would name, they're doing good this year as opposed to last year. So I can't really name them. But take the two worst teams you can think of. He's not working those games. He's working prominent games. So I'm like, there got to be something about this that's more personal because you can't be that blind. there's nothing wrong with your eyes. You've been doing this since the 90s. You can see. So it's like, and what we just saw in that video, you had to not be able to call balls and strikes the way you did. So it's like, it got to be something more.
But that sounds like an assumption. All of that is an assumption. Again, this is a guy who's, well, hear me out on this. So this is a person. So this is a person. Actually, this is a person who is over 60 years old, and that's me not being ageist. That's being objective medical person. Like, just, hey, you're over 60. I always had the thought process that anybody 60 plus probably should get their driver's license renewed every year, because this has been my long time opinion. Like, over a certain age should have to automatically have that renewed every year. Like, you're making the assumption that this dude's, like, let's start there. You're making the assumption that this dude's eyes are well. Like, and I don't know that
it's his job. He has to have checkups and stuff, right? He has to pass evaluations. No.
All right.
No, is that how it works?
Do they? Is that even the truth? Is that something that they even have to go through? Honestly, I can't say that as an objective fact. I can say that as an assumption, sure. But I mean, we all worked with someone at a job who was doing the bare minimum. At whatever, anyone listening, wherever you work, I say, hey man, there's this person at my job that they milking this thing for as long as they possibly can, because they know they ain't going nowhere no time soon. And someone immediately comes to your mind, like, you know, that coworker you work with, you remember them, and that's all I'm saying. So like, if he's doing the bare minimum, and he knows that he's in this thing for the long haul, that they can't do a thing, and he's milking it, God bless you, legend at the bank. Like, that's
I'm with you. I would. Working with the state government, this is a real short story. They have people there that were not really competent, and they have a union too. They have that same kind of situation. You can't really fire them so easily. It takes a lot to get them out of there. You know what I'm saying? But they'll get reassigned to somewhere where they don't have to do as much looking. It's the problem with their eyes. What do you do in this case? There's no way that if he has a problem, somebody's asking him, "You okay? Can you see? Do you know what's going on?" If he answered affirmatively, but we still see this guy. There might be some kind of checks and balances, but I mean, I don't have any evidence to that. But I'm using common sense.
My friend's grandma almost killed somebody on the road like 3 years ago, and they had to take her driver's license and the keys, both things. So after the state took her driver's license like 2 years before that, then the family had to take her keys eventually on multiple occasions, because she still almost killed somebody multiple times because she continued to drive to the store. Couldn't even tell you that an accident happened. My overall point is, hey man, you could ask this dude, can he see all day? That don't mean that I ain't doing this just because you asked me. Yeah, I can do this. I got this.
I mean, evaluation. I don't mean acting. You're gonna lie. I mean, I'm talking about evaluation. Like, in order for you to maintain your job, your position in this job, you must be able to see my hand in front of your face. You know, I mean, whatever the evaluation process. I mean, you agree? Herb.
You
took a little break. What you got, brother?
Well, I don't know. First off, can everybody even hear me? Gremlins in the machine. It's funny with the name Angel Hernandez. I don't even watch baseball, and I've heard the name. That's how bad you have to be at your job for me to hear the name of an umpire in a sport I'm not even watching. So before I even saw the highlights, I already knew this, and I was like, that's just terrible. And I'm with y'all. Like, my wife thinks the exact same thing as you, Travis, that after 60 there should be some checks and balances as far as your driver's license. But it's almost like baseball's embraced Angel Hernandez as like as a sideshow, and they're just like, let's just keep trotting him out here. You know that it's going to be bad for everybody all day, but maybe more people will watch this disaster. So I don't know how people like that keep a job in such a high profile thing, but like I said, God bless him, man. If he can keep it moving and keep that money going, I mean, I can't be mad at him. I'd like to go up there, and I bet you he doesn't even have like the little clicker in his hand to do balls and strikes. Bet you just pulls out his cell phone and plays on it for a few minutes and puts it back in and goes to the next one.
Oh, you see what he does. You saw it. The pitch happens. The ball hits the catcher's glove, and what do you see happen? There's a pause. He paused
because he wants to see where the catcher caught it at. You pulled it in the air. Oh, strike. Good job, buddy. Good job.
No, he paused after that. He's sitting like, strike. I'm like,
hey man,
I bet you he's listening to a podcast. He's probably listening to you, Mr. You, in a podcast in there. And that's why he's not paying any attention. This is probably all your fault.
I certainly hope not, because our people are hurt. He's killed us in many a game. No.
He said, Mr. You said I could change the world. Oh, what you guys say? Oh, strike. or
He got his earpiece in, listening to a podcast while the game's going on.
You are not going to put this on me,
dude. Listening to the Budweiser, not the Budweiser, the Buffalo Wild Wings people. All right, let's keep this thing going. All right, let's wrap it up. Yep.
See,
I like it.
See, now it makes more sense though, right?
Yeah, no. I don't think he should be there anymore. I want him to lose their job, but he need to lose his job. But before we get to Las Vegas in the air, which is the craziest situation in baseball, perhaps. Shout out to the folks joining us on Football Talk with Bo, our guy. Good morning from the road. Drive safe out there, brother. We miss you, man. One half of the Herb and Raj podcast every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. EST on your YouTube channel. The Herb and Raj podcast. Good morning, sir. Roll Tide, baby. Said Herb is on mute. I know. Oh, yeah. I want to be at the party, man. I'm going to miss that part, I guess.
You're going to be in Dallas Saturday night?
I don't like Dallas just on principle.
Met JT this weekend and hung out with him at an 8-day game, so that was a fun time. So,
man, I want to hear about that right after we get done with this nonsense that's going on with the Oakland Athletics. Well, the short story is there's no sound for this or anything. The short story is that the owner, Mr. Fisher himself, worth about $2.5 billion, he wants to move the team. He tried multiple times to get a stadium in Oakland, and I guess it didn't work out, or he didn't find anything to his liking. So he's been trying to move the team for a while. The fans are basically having a strike every time there's a home game. They're outside the stadium chanting, sell the team. Matter of fact, whenever the A's play somebody in an away game, the fans are shouting, sell the team. They're not A's fans. And they're saying, sell the team. So this is becoming a national sell the team movement. So they try to move to Las Vegas. They have some stuff planned out for, I think, 2027 to get inside there, have a new stadium built. I guess an old casino and hotel, Tropicana in Vegas, trying to have a new stadium built. They were going to tear the Tropicana down anyway because it was old. So they're going to put up something new, and they're going to put a stadium there in this place for the A's, theoretically, right? So that's kind of falling through right now. It's kind of shaky. So in the interim, they're going to move to Sacramento. The Las Vegas people are saying, you know what? I recommend you stay in Oakland and try to work it out. And that's how dire the idea that moving to Las Vegas is. So the people in Las Vegas are saying, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't come here. Stay there where you are and work that thing out. Ideally, that is the best route, but it doesn't seem like the ownership wants to do that. They got a fan base that's rabid that want to be there. They're bringing in a WNBA team in 2025, San Francisco, which is not far from Oakland. My dad used to live in the San Francisco area. He was alive, not far from there. They got they got a soccer team, and they got a minor league baseball team, I think, in the Oakland area. So they got fans that want sports. So Fisher could work it out if he really tried hard enough, I guess. But for some reason, he doesn't want to do that. So that's kind of where we are. What do you guys think from what you know, what you see in this? This is a nightmare scenario, because it's kind of like moving out of your house and not having anywhere to go, and you sell your house. You can't go back to your house because you don't have. You get it? It's like you plan that kind of stuff out before you leave. You make sure you got everything planned. So you have somewhere to live when you move out of your house. Fisher's not planning that far ahead. He's putting his eggs. He's putting his chicken, the horse before the cart. Chicken before the eggs, whatever.
I mean, it sounds like he really wanted to get this thing done, so he's gonna get it. He got it done one way or another. Hell or high water.
Yeah, I get it. High water's here because just but it's not even looking good for 2028. It's not looking good 4 years from now. So, what do you do?
I still never get the whole we're going to move into another stadium and stay there for a minute until the other one is ready. Like, that's just a terrible idea. Like, how many fan base are you trying to alienate on the way out? And to your analogy, it's not this he just moved out the house. He burned the house down before he moved out too. And now
absolutely
nobody wants to be there. So I mean, it's a ridiculous situation. You got to have a lot of reports.
This is weird. This is a third relocation though. Like, what's going on with the franchise? Is it the franchise? Is it the ownership? What is it? I'm not a historian going back, talking 60s and 70s, but I know this is their third city at this point. What's happening with the lack of being able to build that fan base, or getting the money agreement that they were, generally want. I'm not understanding that link.
I mean, we can check. I'm not quite sure that Fisher was down in ownership in the 70s. I'm not sure about that one. I mean, I watched baseball back then in the 80s. But I'm not quite sure Fisher was there. I think they had a different ownership, but they don't seem to have the ability to get this right. If you look at the stadiums and their condition, this is probably one of the worst stadiums. I'm talking about bathrooms, concession. Yeah. When you mess bathrooms up, man, they're out here for 3 hours watching games, even before the new pitch count. About 3 hours out here to watch games. They come there early and they usually stay late, take pictures, media, that kind of stuff. So they're there for like 3 hours plus. If your bathrooms ain't in good condition, that's a nightmare for folks. Where they gonna go to the bathroom at? You know what I'm saying? So you got stuff you can be doing to make the stadium better, but they haven't had the desire to do it. And I shared this on several shows late last year, I think it was. It feels like they want to try to force their way out, so they purposely didn't fix things. Yeah. They let things that were dilapidated kind of stay that way to kind of turn the fans off and keep people out of the stadium to kind of force the I guess the ownership's hand, I guess, to move and it be smooth. I mean,
Fisher's been there since 2005, by the way.
Yeah, so you think they didn't want this to happen, or so they didn't want the team to stay?
Everybody believes that. Look what they were. I mean, they weren't fixing it. They weren't upgrading. I mean, most stadiums, if you're there, they're gonna do an upgrade if they can. They can upgrade stuff. They're gonna do that, especially with audio visual. I mean, most teams do that, but these guys, they just decided they weren't going to do it.
It's just
and it wasn't that they had the money. They had the money. The money's there for it. They just wouldn't do it. And what they also did, and then people would know that they didn't want to stay there, was they got with all of their good players. They sold them off for cheap and brought in guys that played kind of cheap, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And in order to tank their records, and I'm talking about late season tanking, I'm talking about early season tanking, mid season tanking continuously to bring the value down so they can go ahead and and move the team off without But what they don't understand is that even if you do that kind of stuff, coming to a new place, how's that going to look to the new fans?
Yeah. And to your point, like the owners that took them to the World Series 3 times in a row, when they passed away and the team was sold, the next owners took over and were like, yeah, we're not spending as much. And then Fisher took over, and I think he just continued that. And I think that's why the success of Oakland hasn't been there for a while. And to what you were asking earlier, I guess, Travis, like the owners that have been there since their success have just not wanted to spend money. And that's why they continued, like, let's look somewhere else. So
I'm like, dude, that's 3 teams they've lost in less than 5-6 years. Like, that's crazy. Oakland, that's crazy.
That place wants sports, man. They want sports.
They might want sports, but they don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like I want a 10, but I might not want to put in 10 behavior as a man. I understand it.
I'm not sure I can take it there because I don't know. I don't have the attendance in front of me before all this stuff started happening. But I feel like it was pretty good in its heyday, in its time.
Right.
And I'm not putting all on Mark McGwire. It was good because despite that, people wanted baseball. Baseball was important in that time frame. I don't know what we're talking about right now.
Right. I don't blame. Yeah, I don't blame the fans. That's to be clear. I'm not blaming the fans, but this obviously, if they've lost 3 professional franchises in less than 6 years, that's a conversation piece. And when it was the Raiders, it was also a stadium conversation. Like we're having the same conversation, talking about spending money and investing in the teams to keep them there.
Good point.
Something that other teams are willing to do. Most times when the NFL team leaves, it is surrounding around the stadium. To your earlier point. That's the conversation piece. And you're in an expensive place like California.
Fair. That's fair.
Okay, cool.
Las Vegas, though.
I mean, while Las Vegas Las Vegas is shiny. It's new.
You think it's shiny, it's new, but it's a smaller media market than what Oakland got.
It is a smaller media market, not significantly different than Orlando, Florida. And I say that I live on the outskirts of Orlando. No, I live on the outskirts of Orlando. But the reason I use Orlando as the example, because it doesn't matter if you have a smaller media market or you have a smaller population market when you are a market that is historically known for what? Visitors.
Right.
That is what
That's
you
what I
are
was
known
thinking.
for.
Yeah.
So it may not matter if you're a smaller market as long as you have an influx of people always coming in, because that makes it easy for travel, easy for your stadium, easy for the fans, easy for everybody. Like across the board, cheap flights, $100 flight to go to Las Vegas and watch a football game, hockey game, basketball, etc. Hey man, I understand the pull.
Yeah. You can make a whole weekend out of everything in Vegas and then center it around the football game coming up or the baseball series that weekend. Like, it's a travel destination. So, hey, if I can go to Vegas and have my good weekend and catch 3 games at the same time, I'm good.
Or you catch some A's games when you go to Las Vegas. You going to go to the A's?
I'm saying if I was a fan of that, why not?
I'm saying I'm a diehard baseball fan before I even start putting on colors. If I'm going to Vegas, I ain't a gambler, so I don't even do that. Just to be fair, it's kind of boring. If I go to Las Vegas, I'm not going to an A's game. Not on the strength of what we're seeing right now. It's not happening.
I think that's based on you being you, though.
Yeah.
And again, 90%. No, I said no. Hear me out. You are a fanatic, right? You are truly about this life, and that's what I mean. Like, but if you're 30%, 40%, I think I'd be reasonable to say it's like something like that. Like a lot of the baseball is surrounded around making sure they get kids involved, making sure that next generation is truly engaged in playing this sport, making sure they can make this an international thing. All these things that they're pushing for, and they have historically been pushing for the last, decade plus, then lead you to believe that, hey, if I put this team in Las Vegas and I have people that are coming to visit to watch this game just outside of the local area, I'm kind of having people coming to watch this game. I'm not necessarily having to advertise it to you, because if you were a fanatic, you're going to be there either way. But if you're not a fanatic, hey, that's when I'll get these other people to come, because the game's there. You already here, baby. Why not come and watch a game? We're out of the street.
Yeah. And you're right in the middle of the day. You're not taken away from any other things that you were going to do. All your other activities in Vegas, you were probably planning at night. So a 1:00 game in the middle of the afternoon.
All your degenerate activities at nighttime.
Yeah,
Nobody's taking you away from it.
Yeah.
I love you guys' enthusiasm. The optimism is like it's better than this for me this morning. I appreciate it so much. These guys, these A's fans, they're out here in front of the stadium protesting every time they got a home game. But do you know what the attendance been looking like? The attendance, what it's been looking like. I'm talking about. It's not just about them trying to sell the team. Yeah. They going out here and they're seeing a really bad product because the team's been gutted. So you can move into Las Vegas all you want to, but you can't take new players with you. That's going to be a process. It's going to take a minute.
Oh, and it should take a minute, but that should be purposeful, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take most of that. More than half of that, the timeline they originally had, the time it's not gonna work now. We can see that the timeline is just going, it's blown up. But it would have took half of the time, more than half of the timeline to get them to a place where they had a product on the field that people actually want to see. Right now, it's busted. I think they got one guy that's really good, and I don't think they expect him to be good. And he's been, I guess, overachieving. But the rest of it's a project. So you're taking that to Las Vegas. They already got a project out there called the Raiders. So you know what I'm saying? It's bad, but I mean I hear what you guys are saying though. Las Vegas is.
Well, hear me out from a team building and a management perspective. Just bear with me. I'm just putting myself in those shoes just for a sec. If I'm moving a team from one city to the other, where I'm playing legitimately half of my games, and these guys signed up to be here, to play here. They bought houses, they built lives, et cetera, to be here, and then I decide to make the move of this team away from this city where we would no longer be playing pretty much any games in the Oakland area moving forward. I can see why the players themselves might have a problem staying there and not wanting to be there. So it might be in your interest from a management perspective, if you know this team is going to be moving because this stadium is not being invested in, to just jettison them, get what you can get from them, or just don't re-sign them and rebuild this team where you know the team's going to be moving forward. I mean, we saw something moderately similar with the Chargers when they ended up moving from St. Louis. St. Louis, not Chargers,
San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah, the Rams. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry. You threw me off for a second. Yeah. And I'm like, you see something similar, like, hey, you don't renew all the contracts. You also make sure that you have a different coach. Like, these are conversations behind the scenes. These guys aren't signing up to move my entire life over there just because you choose that the stadium's not working out. They might not want to be there. Cool. So I get that you might want to put that on management, but at the same time, it might be just easier and simpler just to clean slate and just rebuild that sucker from the bottom up. I'm putting minimal money into it right now, and when I get where I'm getting to, I build it up from that point. It's gonna take a minute either way, but at least you ain't got no bad stuff going on in the locker room. Come on, this ain't the first time we've seen the story. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, people have been moving their teams at 2:00 in the morning while everybody's sleeping. I mean, we've seen it. so we know that we got our precedents for it.
Yeah, those are more fun stories. Yeah.
Chad. Yeah, good morning, Chad. Thanks for joining us, brother. We appreciate you. All you got West Coast totally on board with your Trav. Everything you were saying. The Bone Meister said Angel become a broadcaster so he can continue making bad. You know, good and well, he ain't gonna be no broadcast. He's gonna stay right there with that.
I think I would watch that broadcast though.
That's always interesting when you have those refs. Yeah, when you have those refs,
you're gonna be bored. You're gonna be bored.
Say bad stuff, and they just get paid to say bad stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I agree with that, Bo.
He might surprise you. He might do a almost like a Bill Belichick and surprise you outside of his normal realm and be entertaining. He might be a funny guy that's thoughtful about the game and passionate about the sport. He ain't calling balls and strikes. You ain't gonna enjoy it the same way you're enjoying it right now. I guess.
I want him to be as bad at broadcasting as he is at calling balls and strikes, and I would tune in for that one.
No, I think he'll be epic. I think he'll be great. He'll be incredible because now you got the TV and we got the TV right in front of him. He beeping. He got this HD. He right here on it. He like, oh no, I got this. I got all the angles now. Yeah, my boy say I ain't got to worry about the MLB no more. I got this private organization paying me.
You don't need no lazy. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, let me be honest.
You're gonna find out he wears glasses and he just never wore them when he was umpiring.
Oh God. All right.
Yeah, he need LASIK like Jameis Winston. I got you.
Wow. That's not what I expected to happen. All right, cool. All right, so let's go jump into a little bit of NFL draft, man. We got that's happening up this week. Oh, no, this week, excuse me. I wanted to be this week, but it's not. So next week, I want to cover it a little bit because next week we're gonna go deep into it. It's gonna be all NFL draft next week. We're gonna just go ahead and just deep dive in there. You guys ready for your mock drafts? I've been talking about this thing for about a month and a half. You guys got it ready? I know Trav sent his through Twitter. You ready, Herb?
Maybe.
Raj and Bo. You hear me out there? Where's your top 10 mocks, man? Send them in the comments, man. Let's go, man. We waited long enough. Let's go. Okay. All right, Trav, you got yours in front of you, man. You can go ahead and run them. I'll give Herb a chance to get his pull up.
So run my top 10.
Let's go, baby. Top 10.
Okay. All right. So
we got trades, bonus points. We got trades.
All right. So I wanted to put a trade so bad, but I've been back and forth on this. If you follow me on Twitter, Travis D. Holmes, you know I'm 50-50 on whether or not these trades actually come to fruition.
Yep.
And I end up not going with the trades. I thought the easier route is to not have a trade happen.
Okay.
Well, no. It's hard. It's harder to say, all right, this trade is going to happen because I truly think, yes, a trade probably is going to happen in the top 10. Which trade is the one that I'm just like, I don't know. And that's a coin flip. So you know what? It's the hardest thing to do is just say, I'm gonna leave it as is. This is what's gonna happen. Then we're gonna go with this. Cool. Okay. Start with Chicago Bears taking Caleb.
Right. This is number one pick, but it's so lackluster. Like, oh, pick Caleb. Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah, we know what's gonna happen, man. We know what this is. Follow that up with the Commanders picking up Drake May.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Right.
Why is that shock? I feel like there's some conversation.
Nobody's saying that. I haven't heard that one time.
No, you haven't heard one time that Drake may go in second?
Drake may go in second.
I'm talking about before we start getting into it. Early on, yes, it was Caleb and Drake back to back, but that died off weeks ago. Drake may begin to drop at least 1 or 2 points almost every week.
I got you, but that's draft season, man. They get fatigued. You know what I mean? Like if they get fatigued of seeing the same stuff. You got to get these clicks, baby. Come on, and what's gonna get them clicks? We putting everybody else ahead and putting in trades and all this other stuff, and then we hit the draft day, and it's like, oh no, this is exactly as we expected. Let's go.
There you go.
New England picking up Jaden Daniels. So we got 3 out of 3 quarterbacks, of course. And then before is where I get a little different because again, everybody's assuming that it's going to be a quarterback trade or something along those lines. May go 4 out of 4. I'm saying that nope, we're going to have Arizona stand tall, stand 10 toes in, and go with Marvin Harrison Jr. Give them another receiving threat for Kyler. Then we got the Chargers at 5, picking up Malik Neighbors. Now we have a slight run on receiver. Got a problem going on. And then the New York Giants stepping in, picking up the hopeful quarterback of the future in J.J. McCarthy. I know that's going to make a lot of people angry for obvious reasons, but that's the Brock Purdy effect, Follow that up with Tennessee Titans. There's no way in the world they're going to, if they have an option, like this is going to be between an OT and a receiver, in my opinion. I think it always was. I have them going with Rome Odunze, which is going to just make all my Jaguar fans mad because that's what we want. We want him to get to 8. And that's a hard one because I can see them. They already took Calvin Ridley. And then they can get Rome Odunze, and that's the obviously follow up D-Hop. That will be a problem for obvious reasons. I mean, everybody's trying to compete with Houston right now. Then we got number 8, Atlanta Falcons, going with Dallas Turner. Boy. I mean, I feel like that's just a layup. They don't have enough up front right now. And then Chicago Bears picking up Brock Bowers. They got to give Caleb some more receiving options. Yep. And wrapping that thing up with the New York Jets going with Fuaga.
Sweet deal. All right. I like. I got different stuff going on. How about you, Herb? You ready for it?
Yeah. I went crazy on mine though. So a couple of these I don't believe is going to happen. Yeah. So definitely, Caleb Williams, number 1, of course. I gave Washington Jaden Daniels at number 2. Then at number 3, New England does what they always do. They trade back. Minnesota trades up to get Drake May at number 3. So instead of Washington. Arizona, I did stand pat with Marvin Harrison. I, like you guys said, I know that's a popular pick to get a trade in there, but I feel like this time they stay there, go ahead and give them another weapon and see what Kyler can actually get done. Then I absolutely don't believe that Vegas should trade up with what they've got going on, but I gave them the number 5 spot and give them J.J. McCarthy. So then the Giants, they go ahead and draft Spencer Rattler.
Stop playing.
I'm just joking. I had to see Mr. Hughes.
That took me a second.
I know good and darn well you ain't trying to. I knew that was
you probably missed it. He had a little Spencer Rattler kind of rant. Was a week or 2 ago. Spencer was taking stray bullets and he wasn't even in the conversation. So that's what I mentioned.
Oh man!
I was just saying we don't need that in our life.
Yeah, I know, but you brought up Spencer Rattler. Nobody thought he was going. No, I gave him Malik Neighbors at number 6 since they missed out on the quarterbacks that they wanted. So I gave him Malik Neighbors. Sorry, Michelle, I couldn't resist, man. I couldn't resist.
My heart didn't even skip a beat. I know that.
I went with and I think we were Joe Alt to Tennessee. I do like your receiver one, but I do think they go OT after getting Ridley. Then I went with Dallas Turner. I went with Brock Bowers, just because I feel like Brock Bowers is a top 10 talent, and I feel like he's got to be in here, so I went with him to the Bears. And then number 10, I have the Bills trading up with the Jets, which probably never happened, but just so they could get Rome Odunze, just so they can get a wide receiver.
Wow. That's a shocking.
And I'd read a report maybe a week ago that the Jets were willing to trade out of that spot. I doubt they would ever trade with the Bills. And I don't know how much draft capital the Bills really want to give up to go get a wide receiver after giving up one. But for purposes of my draft, I wanted to get that in there.
Okay. Let me just throw out, if Odunze is still on the board at 10, at 10, Jaguars are trading up. There's no way. I have to believe that because I was honestly, my thought was honestly that they were going to trade up with Atlanta at 8 if he's still on the board. So if he's on the board at 10. There's no way they're not on the phone with Atlanta, Chicago, and the Jets trying to figure out what that best option if he's still on the board there. So if it does go the way you do, and from your mouth to God's ears, whatever, let's go. Like let's get that done.
I could just see because of I expect a trade up for a quarterback or 2, and I think that's what's going to end up pushing him down. I don't think it's his value or anything. And then Tennessee and Atlanta, I could really see skipping the wide receiver for sure. So then, like I said, Chicago. Maybe a destination, depends on how much more they want to invest in it as well. So,
I got you.
I was holding out.
It's not like his value is at 10. It's more like how the picks lie. If that makes sense. So,
I got you. And again, that for me, that Tennessee Titans Rome Odunze pick, I know is a luxury pick, but I also do know that this is a GM who's trying to put his stamp on everything, and he's done things a little differently than the old Tennessee Titan way lately. So I'm like, I think everybody's assuming an OT, and rightfully, because Alt is a good freaking tackle. But I'm just thinking, like, what would he do based on like what he's done? Like he's gotten a smaller, faster team, got rid of Derrick Henry. Is this? I mean, it's possible. I don't know. That's just curious.
No, that's a good thought. It was a good thought. I like.
I was holding out hope that Roger and Bo would get their picks in. If you guys can drop them on our Twitter post, if you can't get them in now, that's fine. We can go ahead and roll. I thought trying to make it interesting. So I'm like, you want to wait to the last minute to drop your okay, but maybe they're busy. I dropped mine. I went ahead and just something I never do in the mock draft. Ever. Got trades in here. I got 2 of them in here. So because of that, a lot of the other picks are just like average, straight, boom, boom, boom. But yeah. So Alabama won with the Bears. Minnesota traded up to Washington with their first this year and next year. And they get Jaden Daniels. So the Vikings are taking Daniels home with them. Drake made the Pats, Marvin Harrison to the Cardinals. Vegas trades with the Chargers, who are kind of itching to make a trade anyways. They trade their first this year, which is the 13th. They picked their first. They trade their first. They trade their 2024 third round pick and a 2025 second round pick for J.J. McCarthy.
How weird is it that we made the same trade?
I think the Chargers are kind of down with it.
Right.
Only way they stay there is they don't anything they like. I think they actually want to do this. And if I know Harbaugh at all, I know that he sees the needs on this team and how many draft picks they got. He needs more people. he needs more help back there. So I can see that happening. So with that, I think I'm with you that the Giants take Neighbors. I think it's going to be helpful. I think they're going to fix the quarterback thing in the second round, just not right here. Joe Alt going to Tennessee, I think it's a wise idea for Levis. I mean, based on what I saw last year, I think Levis should be at Alt's house sleeping over at this point in time. Dallas Turner, high speed, short arms, going to Atlanta. I think Adunze is going to the Bears in this. What they tried to do when they brought Claypool in is they tried to get what Adunze is. I mean, for me, when Claypool first came out, I said, man, the Steelers got a baller. I mean, he had 6'4", catching 50-50. He was just doing what you're supposed to do. I don't know what happened.
Contested catch monster.
It was a dramatic fall off. I don't know what. Maybe it's all mental, but something happened after that first year or so. Just maybe Big Ben not being there might have been a part of it, but it was just a big fall off. And it's like ever since then he's just been dangling. I feel like Rome is the guy that they wanted when they got Claypool over there. So I think that they're gonna definitely appreciate having him. I know Caleb Williams will. In this with the Jets, they're gonna take Bowers. I think. I don't think there's another trade for them in there. If these trades happen like this, I think they're gonna take Bowers, give Rodgers a safety net, so to speak. They got talent out there, but I think the tight end area is lacking, and they lost their boy, who was his boy. I forgot his name. I think it's Tunyon, Robert Tunyon. Came over with him, and I guess he didn't hang around. I thought he was great, but I don't know. He's not great with Zach Wilson. He was great with Rodgers. He wasn't great with Zach Wilson. So I guess that's what it boiled down to.
Injuries, man. They turn it around though. That's what it was.
Everything around, brother. So, man, Roger and Herb still didn't get their Roger and Bo didn't get their picks in, man. But that's our top 10. So how you feeling about it? You think it's going to happen somewhat similar to this, or we just hoping for the most chaos in this draft?
Well, I don't know, man. Them trades, that's the kicker. Like again, you have to assume at least one trade happens in the top 10. Yep. I'd be crazy not to believe that. Especially with the top 3 receivers, and receivers being the most expensive thing in free agency these days, you have to assume that need matches with opportunity. Like somebody's going to have to trade for these quarterbacks. Somebody's going to have to trade for these receivers if 2 of them get picked and that person on 5-6. So yeah, man, I can see it happening the way you guys are talking about.
The Vikings and the Raiders. I mean, I've been saying it for several weeks. I don't know if everybody agreed on the show, but the Vikings and the Raiders, they have to do this. I mean, I've seen their cap money. Yeah, man.
I think the Vikings have to do something, I think, because of Justin Jefferson. So they got to show them that they have some kind of plan. Bingo. So I see them more than the Raiders. And to your other point,
Devontae.
I think we've probably hit on like maybe 9 out of 10. Like these players are going in the top 10, just maybe order, might be switched around or whatever, or team might be switched around. But I really feel like these are the players that are going, in there. The surprise may be to who, but
you're probably talking about it more next week though. But Devontae, I saw this morning, but we didn't have time to get prepared for it like I wanted to. But he changed his tune. He's been talking about routinely not staying anymore. There was even rumors of him going to the Jets to be with Rodgers. And all of a sudden, his tune has changed now. He's like, I'm happy to be here. I want to be here. I know good and well there's no way they're not getting a quarterback in this draft. Mm-hmm. Just because if I went by that alone, forget everything else, just that by itself, there's no way in the world he's trying to find somebody to throw the ball to him. He's happy now. He want to stay there. He got a youth league out there that he's fostering and stuff. Somebody got to give him the ball, and it can't be somebody last name Connell. It got to be somebody else. So they got to do something. They can't get no Rattler. And the guy from Tulane, they can't do all that stuff. They got to be somebody else.
But they can but the Raiders can get a Bo Nix. They can get a Penix. They can get one of these guys without trading into the top 5.
I don't think they can.
That was my. I think they can at 13. I think they're doing a lot of work on Penix and Nix.
They ain't getting past Denver.
You think Penix and Nix? You think Penix and Nix will be gone by 13?
Yeah.
No way. 0% chance, like 0% chance that happens. Like I could see one of them potentially being gone, maybe around that 15 mark, and I think that would be high.
Somebody who's that? Okay, wait, hold on. Let's get into the top 15 then, because somebody else is
right. Because we predicted, we all gave our mark on the top 10, and I think for the most part we were all in a general agreement. Right. So you're saying that those 2 quarterbacks are going to go between 11 and 15. They're at 13. Between the 11 and 13. Oof, I don't know about that one. That's major trade-ups between those 3 spots.
There's another team that was talking about trading up too. Not as vigorous as the Vikings and the Raiders, but somebody else that's talking about moving up to. It wasn't the Steelers. It was somebody else that was talking about moving up.
You said, and it wasn't the Steelers?
Mm-mm. They are, but they're talking about them, but it's not them, it's somebody else. Who's at 11, 12, and 13?
Yeah, we got the Vikings, I believe, were 11.
Yeah.
Bear with me a minute.
Right now is the Vikings, depending on, but we had trades going up. But the Vikings would be at 11, the Broncos would be at 12, and the Raiders would be at 13.
Yeah, because I'm like, no, I think there's no chance that those guys are all gone from the board, like at that point, without them trading up. So they have their pick of those, other guys that's not the top 4 to 5 guys, like in my opinion, at least.
Right.
And if that is the case, they have options. Those are not 2 scrubs as far as the quarterback play. They just need a little bit more, a little bit more seasoning.
This is
they like the oldest quarterbacks. So I don't know if they're gonna get more seasoning.
And I think the other team, believe it or not, I know you ain't gonna believe it because everybody thinks it's gonna be staying pat, but it's New Orleans. They've been another team that's been in the rumor mill in regards to doing something at that spot, because I don't know. It feels as though they almost had to make a change. I know that Carr hasn't been there that long, but it feels like they had to make a change there. And you feel like I don't know how to work the money out. I don't know about that part. I haven't dug that deep into it, but that's the other team. It was the Saints and the Steelers I was hearing about that were thinking about doing something because they don't have, I guess, confidence at the quarterback position. So I think those are the 2 teams that I was thinking about.
I mean, that's not crazy, right?
That's why I'm like, I just can't buy that they would let that anybody would let Penix fall, but so far down. I don't care what his injury history is. Let him fall that far down. And most of the guys in the back half of the second round don't really need anything in that realm. They need wide receivers and they need running backs. And I think some of them, like you guys seen, like the Jags and some other ones, they don't need that. They need other stuff. So quarterback's not really their problem. So that's why I said I don't see Penix falling, but so far. So that's why I said that. But we'll see. We're gonna have fun with it, man, because the draft is gonna be coming up in a hot minute before you know it. But I want to go ahead and jump into this poll. Put a poll out. I don't know if you saw it, Trav. Should have tagged you in there somewhere in the comments. My bad. But most hated college football teams. Now I'm sure Herb has his own reasons for some of the choices that he put in the options for the most hated college football team. I'll let him speak to that if he'd like to. But That poll was I forgot how I kept it in bookmarks. You can see how many how far it got in the in the growth stage.
Yeah, 324 votes.
Ooh, it's not bad.
324 votes. How many days? Was it like 5 days in? Okay.
This is 6 days. I did it for a 7-day one, so it technically has 1 day left, but it's really stagnated at this point. It's pretty much done.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot
you really
of
get them
comments.
like 90% of your votes like the first 3 days. Say again.
Yeah, in other sections, a lot of other names that weren't in there, but I don't think it was consequential. So he had Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and of course the Michigan Wolverines. So you want to go ahead and speak to this man and speak to the results?
I want to hear what you thinking. No, Travis, on those teams, or
well, I'm thinking of because I live in Florida, so in my head I'm thinking of all right, most hated college football teams. All right, yeah, those are hated, and then I'm just like, yeah, but I'm a UCF alum, and we hated on by everybody because it's national championship thing, which Alabama and Georgia and all these other teams have all done, claiming a national championship based on the old polling system. So my mind immediately goes back to that. We getting all the hate on all the socials because of that. What was it, 2017?
But I think that was more like I just think it was more short-lived versus being hated like
historically.
Overall.
We haven't been good enough historically to be overall.
UCF in that poll, he would have got vilified.
Yeah. And so what I did was
my circle.
Well, I understand, and that's to your point. It's definitely a regional thing because there's like, I had a couple. We'll start with the comments, like the teams that weren't listed. Late there was 3 or 4 people that put out Texas, and one guy said it's Texas and it's not even debatable, and he said I'm sorry, he said it's Texas and that's not even a debate, and I of course responded that's debatable because people kind of hate Texas, but they more hate the Texas is back part of it than that. So, but Texas was when I mentioned to several people, Miami was somebody who just barely missed, and Texas was somebody who just barely missed as far as like maybe their 5th or 6th options. So
the reason that Miami would miss is simply because they haven't been back yet, right? Because it's a recency bias at that point. But again, if you said we're having this long tail conversation, we're talking about historically, then Miami probably should be in there because they were.
I agree.
Good.
They were definitely number 5. I honestly would have probably put them in before Michigan, like historically, but Michigan was for Mr. U because that's how this conversation started.
No, it wasn't for me.
Did you see his face? Did you see his face?
Yeah, I'm used to that. I get that face about 3 or 4 times a show, so I'm kind of used to it at this point.
That's not true. But the Texas thing is like I feel like I should hear it. I don't have to be a Texas fan. I should be able to hear it. If it's hate on that level, with that amount of decibels, I should be able to hear it no matter where I am. I should be able to hear it. I don't hear Texas like that, but
I do.
And I say Michigan should be higher up in the rank. I'm not saying that stuff. The polls are what they are. The votes are what they are. Michigan was dead last.
Yeah. So 46% went to Alabama, 23 to Ohio State, 17 to Notre Dame, and 12 to Michigan.
And USC wasn't even on that list either.
Or
Notre Dame.
They did. Notre Dame was on the list.
Notre Dame was on.
Yeah, 17.3.
17. Okay.
Yeah. USC wasn't even mentioned like in comments though either, or to anybody that I like text polled. So that was interesting. Yeah. I think if you go back to like the Reggie Bush days, you're probably saying yeah, but since then it's kind of been like not as much. So unless Oklahoma fans, I'm sure if Oklahoma fans had this. I
mean, basically you're just naming everybody who had their dominant seasons, whatever that was, let's say 7 years, 10-year time frame. And anything more, you're naming anything like that, and then you're probably going to have an opportunity to be on the list.
But see, here's the thing: Georgia has been dominant, and they're not on the list. And the only comment made was by a Georgia person who thinks they're hated. So it's like it's not just dominance and reasoning bias; it's other things that go into this.
I mean,
I think Alabama is traditionally hated. Our home conference hates us. I told him one time, I said, if Alabama won the national championship and they gave everybody in the conference $10 million. The whole conference would still root against us and say, we don't want the money. We just want Alabama to lose. That's how bad it is. But Georgia won back-to-back and had a chance at 3 in a row and didn't get any of that kind of hate. So it's just different.
That's interesting. And but maybe it's because of how Alabama won versus how Georgia won. Because Georgia's just won like a normal football team, and that's a little different. But Alabama won because they started integrating. You know, the Bear Bryant years. That's different. They started taking those kids from Florida A&M. All of a sudden, they turned this mostly white team to a black and white team from Florida A&M winning national championships to being, you know, you're not hearing much from them at that point. So maybe it's about how they started winning and they kind of changing it up in an area that's the South. That's not about that black and white mixing life.
I wasn't here for all of it. Like I moved here my senior year of high school. So we jumped kind of into the middle of it. And we weren't relevant like for the first 10 years that we were in Alabama. So we didn't know a lot of this. But then Saban came here and it was just kind of like, you know, and then of course you get social media. So you feel it more now than, you know, probably then. But yeah, we got a lot of hate. So
this poll is weird. In that there's so many tentacles to this. Is like I don't know how we can even get past this and move on to the next thing. I don't know how we do that because it's like all I see is Michigan hate. I'm like, I get why, because I mean the things that have happened, the way that they happen, especially on the field, it's like people don't want to accept what happened. So I get that part of it. But it's like if you take them off, who are you going to put on in their place? I mean, all I hear about from people who don't even live nowhere near, they're not even a Big Ten fan, and they still got a comment about Michigan. That's why I said they have to be on this list. Who do you put in their place? With the Notre Dame part, it's weird to me because I'm like, you know what? If you listen to a Notre Dame fan, they have a good reason for why they're independent and the things that they want to be involved with. I respect what I heard. I don't know all the information, but I respect that they didn't want to, I guess, in a way, sell out to the to the machine to do what they would. I mean, I'm cool with that part of it. I don't hate them for that. That's not.
But Mike made a good point about Notre Dame and their lack of conference affiliation, and the fact that they do play so many teams is like every conference ends up hating Notre Dame. Like we've always disliked Notre Dame down here, so I could see their inclusion. And like I said, with the people I text, everyone mentioned Notre Dame, so it was definitely a team.
What's the reasoning?
I just told you because like they're not part of any conference, but they're playing all the conferences, and it's kind of like Notre Dame holds themselves at a loftier standard, even though they're not doing anything or accomplishing anything. So we all just kind of hate on them and want them knocked down.
Oh, so they better than everybody because they don't want to get in the mud.
I mean, but they kind of feel like they carry themselves as better than everybody else because then they always have that built-in excuse of, hey, man, it's harder to get here. It's harder to get in here. It's harder to recruit. If you can win here, you can win anywhere because it's more difficult. So if you're a fan of any other team, even when you win and they always have this little get out of jail free card in the back pocket, you might feel some kind of way. I can understand that.
Okay, I give it that. Man, I don't know. So I guess people have spoken and they said that Alabama is the most hated. I still get Michigan hate stuff coming on my timeline. I mean, I ain't even talking about. I ain't posting nothing. I'm not saying I ain't doing no videos.
Yeah, but you're not alone in that. I get that when nothing's going on.
But again, like y'all said, it's regional, so it depends on your following. If that is mainly seen by your following, then whoever the vast majority of your following is, they're gonna be like, "No, we are the most hated because everybody want to be hated on. Everybody want to be disadvantaged."
Yeah. If you're not being hated on, then you're kind of irrelevant. So it's like. People gotta dislike you,
right? So you want to be number one on.
I'm just gonna say I don't mind it. If we get to a point where everybody's not hating Alabama anymore, that means we're not doing anything right.
Right? He ain't trying to say it out loud, but he's loving it. He's relishing it.
We went 13%. Do you think we didn't do enough to get a better percentage than that?
I don't think you did enough. I think it was 1 year, and that's all we really paid attention to.
1 year of domination.
Okay. And 2 days after the national championship, Nick Saban retired, and everyone forgot the championship. It was the biggest news story, Nick Saban retiring.
That's very hurtful.
You pushed me to it. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to not go into that. You pushed me to it.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see if Alabama is going to be able to retain their previous levels or even something close to this previous levels of dominance now that the NIL is going to change the game and it's going to be obviously a different coach.
It's definitely harder, year to year now because I'm already bracing like what's the spring transfer window? You know what I mean? Like it's like who are we about to lose in the next couple of days? So it's already hard. I will say this: Coach Saban set up DeBoer better than Saban was set up when he got here. You know, there's definitely a lot more talent, but the playing field changes every day now. So with these transfer windows in NIL, who knows?
No, that's fair.
All right, man. This is an awesome show. As usual, hate to be ending on a negative note.
Yeah, thanks to y'all too. What negative note, man? You got a national championship, man. I promise you, if we had won the national championship last year, couldn't nobody say anything to me.
They can't tell me nothing. I ain't trying to hit. I'm saying, but this 13% is like, oh. These same people that's voting, they were probably some of the main ones on my timeline. I didn't go back and check because I ain't got that kind of time. But 13% under Notre Dame? Really? Wow.
I mean, I'll go back and vote for you, man.
Ohio State's in there probably because of the years prior to recently. I doubt it had anything to do with the last 3 or 4 years. I doubt that very highly. They pulled that one from the archives. That hate came out of the treasure chest. That hate. That's nothing recent. They ain't did nothing. So I don't know what that's about, but okay. it's all good. Yeah, man. I want to touch a trap. How much time?
Okay.
You know what?
Yeah.
I got a tiny window. We can go ahead and use it. I got a little window. We can go ahead and use it. Cause my allotment ends on the 17th, so I got let's go ahead and just roll with it. All right, cool.
I have roughly 9 minutes before I go.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh man. Okay.
We can touch on it. Let's go. It's my job, so we can go. Let's go.
All right, real quick then. Strongest and weakest draft groups in this year's draft. I know you're gonna say quarterback, but beside quarterback, what's the strongest group out here?
And wide receiver, because it's like 7 of our top 10 is those 2 people. So what's after that group?
What's after receiver?
That's the question.
Offensive tackle, I would guess.
My
my answer was definitely going to be receiver because you can get starters up until the third, rounds 3, maybe even 4 if you're lucky.
Yep.
But maybe if not that, then you're probably talking OT.
Yeah. Okay, now when we talk about strongest, you guys talking about there's more of them or there's more of a higher quality at the position? Because that's 2 different things. So what we talking about?
Wide receiver is probably highest quality and deepest. If you're picking one of the first wide receivers, you're getting somebody really good. But if you're picking a wide receiver in the second round, you're still probably getting somebody pretty good. Any other year.
After Xavier Leggett, who are we talking about then? Because I think
I have to go through the names, but this is like I was just listening.
Yeah, even you say after Xavier Leggett. I mean, Xavier is going to be projected to go maybe best case scenario. You're talking like middle of the second, early second, like it's probably ceiling.
It's been early second point I've been seeing so far. Yeah.
So we're talking like wide receiver, maybe 6, 7, 8 range before we start getting a fall off between number one, like true, reasonably considered number one options. That's not bad at all. And again, I would even argue that it goes by Xavier Leggett, honestly. So that's a hard one.
Yeah, if you're using Pro Football Focus as a measuring stick, they're saying wide receiver and then of course OT and cornerback. Honestly, I haven't dug into the cornerback. Maybe that's what we'll do since next week is just all draft anyway. Let's do a little legwork and get into that with more.
You got Jarian Jones and Ronaldo Green from FSU. You got Mike Sandersfield from Michigan. We're still talking corners, but we're talking slots though. Obviously, slots are still corners, baby. I mean, there's a lot of guys, man, who are available. And again, you're talking 3rd, 4th round even. Who can be like legitimate starting corners, and this is outside of the top guys, obviously Mitchell and Arnold. So yeah, I can see cornerback being up there too. I didn't think about it though.
Yeah, and especially with this run on offensive players early, those kind of positions getting pushed back a little bit, you're gonna find some good stuff without having to move up for it. So
yeah, guys like Tyler Newman, man, people are chomping at the bit to get their hands on him. I know he got mocked to us recently too because we got a safety opportunity on our team. So if Newman falls, so there's nowhere in the world that
safety's really light. Safety's like one of the weakest, if not behind maybe tight end. Safety's like one of the weakest positions. So if you don't get one of your top guys,
linebacker too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, linebacker's not bad.
Linebackers not
I wonder,
strong.
do you count running back as a weaker group, or just the position value is gone and you're just going to get somebody late no matter what you do now?
I think it's both. It's a mixture of both, though, because just last year you had Gibbs that went in the top 10, and that was last season when with the running back
and Bijan.
Yeah, when the running back position was in shambles, like it was in flames, and they somehow went in the top 10. So it may be a mixture of both. But I mean, your highest rated running back this year is scheduled to go what? Second, third round?
Second, maybe third, yeah.
Yeah, like that's your highest running back. That's wild.
You might see 6
and
that's it. I mean, so it's not strong. Jonathan Brooks is the name you hear, despite his ACL tear, and then you hear Jalen Wright. Forgot what team he's on, but those are the top backs you hear about most of the time. There's another guy too. I think he's from Texas. It's another guy whose name I've been hearing a lot. But aside from that,
Jalen,
it's not.
There we go. There we go.
Are
we gonna get the fireworks too?
Yeah. I'm like, have them close up.
I told him I've been listening to a Dallas podcast a couple of times just to kind of get a feel for what they were doing, and they need a running back, and they're just like, third round or after is where we're going to find it. So that just kind of tells you where the position's at. Even teams that are like, we need to get a running back, it's not a priority at all.
Yeah, and if you got 3 rounds to pass to get other talent, why would it be? Shoot, that's easy.
Yep.
I love the edge defender. I'm hopeful for something to happen there. There's a lot of meat on that bone in this draft. If you need an edge guy, you got Dallas Turner, you got Jared Verse, you got Latu. Yeah, that's
been a fun conversation because there's been a lot of argument between which one of those top 3 are actually the number 1 edge, and there doesn't seem to be any consensus on that, even though everybody's kind of just putting Dallas as number 1 because you have to.
I don't want that heat. If it was me, I'm not sure I want Turner. That's just me. I can't say to somebody else better. Chop has been visiting with us for quite a bit now. We can always use another edge rusher. We can't.
I'm a verse guy. He might not be like Latu's going to be your best, in my opinion. Latu's going to be your best guy to get. He's going to have the most sacks in this freaking year because he's going to be more closer to a designated pass rusher. But I think Burst is just skill set, bend, power, speed to power, etc. I just feel like he's that guy overall, and I think Dallas might be competing for that 3rd spot. But you know what? My job's not on the line to make that decision.
I'm gonna drop one name and we're gonna go ahead and get out of here in that regard. That's why this gonna be fun for next week. We're gonna do our homework. Bo and Raj, dig in, baby. It's all NFL draft. I ain't talking about no baseball. It's all NFL draft next week. Got to. Just because of the week that follows and how we may not even have a show next week, the week after that. So let's make it happen. But Austin Booker, just remember that name. Remember that name. He's a wild card, but remember that name. That might be somebody that you wish you had on your team in the upcoming year or two. So just watch out for that. His arm's a little bit shorter than Turner's, but he has some other credentials that you definitely want as a edge rusher. But all right, guys, tell everybody where they can find you at. Travis, Herb, and Raj, where can they find you, man?
You can find me on all the socials, Travis B. Holmes. You can find my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars on BigCatCountry.com. Actually just put on the post about the Jaguars rehiring of University of Michigan Director of Personnel, Tom Gable. He's welcoming back we left the light on for him, so he's back in the fold.
Wow, okay.
So I knew you'd appreciate that.
Tag me, please. Tag me, please. Tag me.
Oh, always good stuff from you, Travis, man. I appreciate your stuff, man.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you.
We're at Raj Herb on Twitter, X, and then you can search us out on Herb and Raj Podcast on YouTube and find all our videos. So tomorrow night, the birthday edition for the Herb and Raj Podcast. Raj's birthday is coming up this Saturday. So
the whole episode gonna be about his birthday. That man, he gonna be.
I mean, we might talk about some other stuff because we don't want everybody to get bored, but we will celebrate him as well. So
that man gonna be floating tomorrow night. I'm on somebody else's show, so I don't know if I can be able to catch it. I'm gonna do my very best to catch it. I don't want to miss you guys, but I think I can make it work. But yeah, man. But thanks for joining us again, man. We appreciate it, guys. And of course, on Wednesdays, our Wednesday wrap up. You see most of us here talking sports in the daily news and all the sports realms. Find us on our YouTube channel at They Call Me Mr. U, and of course here on Monday mornings, live at 9 a.m. EST. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the music. Coach out.